Welcome to Snack Chat. That's Mark.
And that's Troy. What is Snack Chat? It's a multi-episode series where we handpick people throughout the entire IBM landscape and try to mash them up into interesting conversations.
It's a casual approach, like we're sitting in a coffee shop or in the lunchroom, and we want to get people a little off guard, a little comfortable, and take a peek into some areas and some conversations that you don't normally get every day.
For this Snack Chat, we've chosen to have a cup of coffee with Alarice Lonergan, who leads our financial services team in the Americas, and Saif Rivers, who leads our retail industry in the Americas.
Please let us know your thoughts on these snack-sized conversations, and if you have any thoughts on pairings of people, products, or services that can help where we explore next. Let's have some fun.
That was one of the interesting things why we wanted both of you two on this chat, is because you're in industries that are in extreme change and danger for some, and some are thriving. And so, Saif, just back on the same topic, how much of this is permanent? This digital acceleration and the way we're working with clients, and how much of it's maybe going to go away in a year or two?
So it's interesting. I was actually on with Reuters this morning talking about the same thing, and they asked me the same question: will this ever go back? And I don't believe it ever will. In fact, I think what we're seeing really right now is just the acceleration of what was already happening, but the real acceleration with a real outcome. I think if you look maybe 10 years ago in Europe, Europe had a fairly well-architected digital retail operation. For example, you couldn't really be a grocery business without having the ability to deliver groceries to the door. Those two things came hand in hand. The US market still had a strong brick and mortar presence, and a lot of retailers were very comfortable with that model. They knew it incredibly well, and they recognized they wanted to pull consumers into the store and have that store as being the core experience center for how they deliver their products, their services, the whole rationale of their brand. What we've now seen is that ultimately that ability is being closed down. I mean, they just cannot trade from stores. We now have many retailers that have reopened their stores, but in very different ways. The BOPUS, buy online, pick up in store type model, or pick up at curbside. So it's meant that many of the retailers were, I won't say caught asleep at the wheel, because that's the wrong term, but they were maybe not quite as invested as they could or should have been. And so ultimately they've had to accelerate those digital plans. What has that meant for the American consumer? It's meant they've got more choice. It's meant they've got more access. It's meant they can shop in the moment wherever they are. And it's meant ultimately they've got the ability to interact with brands which historically maybe they couldn't touch for geographical reasons. So I think what this has done is proven that the digital operational model is actually the foundational model that retailers are going to get to or have to operate in to be successful in today's world. The challenge with that, however, is it's extremely margin dilutive. It's very hard to run a successful digital retail business because of the cost, the overhead, the technology you need to invest in to underpin that. So what we've been helping many of our clients with is to bring in digital into their existing brick and mortar businesses, but in a cost-controlled way that looks at driving value and looks at getting the best experience for both the consumer and the associate, because those two things need to work hand in hand.